In this daily drop, I'm going to talk about shooting 8K for 4K and specifically related to green screen shoots. So let's go. All right, everyone. It is actually Sunday here in the barn, but what I was wearing was so grubby, I just grabbed a shirt off of a hanger. Now I feel too dressed up, but I'm going with it. So here we are. And one of the things I've wanted to do for a while is start to integrate more and more of the work that I've done in the past and either talk about it or make it a part of the content of the daily drop. So I'm hoping to do more of that in the future. But one thing that I had meant to do a while ago, and we're going to do in this episode, is take a look at about 3 minutes of a video that I did as part of the EOS R5 C series that I produced for Canon back in 2023. And when I do these projects, I'm not just talking to camera and taking people through the camera system. I'm actually producing those projects from start to finish. So I start to talk to Canon about what we're trying to accomplish with the series. In the R5C's case, it was going to be 8 educational videos, basically 4 at the bench and then 4 on location, along with a video that's sort of the promotional video that we're using so that we can have something people can watch and then educationally take them through how we use the camera in different ways to accomplish that. So I really had a great time doing this series, but when I do these, I create the outlines for all of the videos. I figure out what the locations are going to be. I hire the talent. I pull permits, or the people who are working with me on the project to help with some of that stuff, and also pick and hire the crews and basically handle everything from pre-production to post-production. So we're delivering final videos to the client in that situation. And I really enjoyed doing the project. And what we're going to look at is about a 3-minute clip from almost the end of the last video in the series called Special Features. One goal for me when I'm creating educational content, even if it's about a specific piece of equipment, in this case, the EOS R5 C, is to still try to make sure that the content, as much as possible, is evergreen content and is as best as possible applicable to just production as a whole. So in this video, I'm talking with a good friend and colleague, James Kwan, who's a fantastic cinematographer based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he also works out of LA. He primarily does features and commercial work, and I'll put a link to his stuff in the description. And James and I have worked together now on and off for many, many years, and I finally convinced him to be on camera with me. He's much more comfortable and likes to be behind the camera, but to really help me kind of talk about all of the things that we were using the R5C for in production. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dip to black and play this little 3-minute clip as part of the episode. And I'm not going to stop and do VO over it. We were basically talking about capturing footage in 8K resolution and the benefits of doing that, especially when you're delivering in 4K, because of course, if you're capturing in 4K and delivering in 1080, the math is the same for 8K to 4K. And we're doing a lot more 4K production. And then it's talking about the benefits of sort of a case study, or the benefits of 8K within a case study of shooting an interview with a green screen, but again, getting backplates in a different location. You know what? Just watch the 3 minutes. I'll come back and give you a couple more thoughts on that. And here we go. So let's talk a little bit about 8K video with the R5C, because while it's not 100% unique to a mirrorless camera, I think that the combination of the digital cinema camera mode, or the video mode inside of the R5C, along with the heat management system where you can do unlimited recording in 8K, really makes this a compelling camera for that type of production. And from what we were doing for everything we were shooting this week, we were using 8K in the camera a lot.
We were. So one thing great about this little camera is it shoots 8K RAW. We're using that with the drone, but also when we're at the beach with Evan, when we decided that we're gonna pick up an interview and use some green screen. So those extra pixels, that extra flexibility with RAW, it's amazing to have in such a small body.
Yeah, and you do have to think about that in terms of production. What happened for us when we were at the Oregon coast is a couple of things. We didn't have enough time.
Yep.
And it started to get really windy there.
Yeah, so we weren't going to be able to shoot an interview, but originally, we had wanted to shoot this interview at the beach, so we just grabbed the 2 plates, knowing that later we'd get Evan again and shoot him in front of a green screen and kind of match that in post.
And we also had our sound recordist record some wild sound there, so we had some additional audio. And then we were taking notes in terms of camera height, what focal length we were shooting in, distance from camera sensor to subject matter, and then additionally making some notes in terms of time of day, position of sun, and then when we set up here, which happened to be on the track and field,
yes,
we had our grip and electric crew basically simulate, and we shot at almost the identical time of day.
Yeah, it's a great way to get an interview at a very specific location when you don't have the time.
The other thing that I've really noticed is a few years ago, everybody was saying, oh, why would you ever want to shoot 8K video? We'll never need anything more than 4K. But as we move forward with things like virtual production, and we need to have projection to larger screens and things like that, or just have that flexibility in post, it's really important. We were finishing in 1080 or HD for a very long time. Some of us still are for certain projects, but most of us are shooting in 4K for HD. So the math is the same if you're shooting 8K for 4K. So if you need to finish in 4K and you want that flexibility in post-production, it makes a lot of sense sometimes to be able to shoot in that resolution.
Correct. Yeah, having the extra pixels doesn't hurt. Even if you down res to 4K or 1080, you're going to have a sharper image. So it's always nice to have those extra pixels.
I think it's self-explanatory, but I really love the flexibility that we got when we thought through properly shooting those backplates, thinking about camera height, distance to talent, time of day. Of course, we wanted to make sure that we were shooting on another day with the green screen in the background at around the same time with the sun in basically the same position. And we did all of that, and I think it came out quite well. Now, the background that we were using is the Manfrotto FX background kit. It's a little bit taller than the normal Panoramic background kit that I use here in the studio. And that extra couple of feet, so it's about 13 feet wide by 9.5 feet tall, really makes a difference when you're trying to get certain shots. It's not going to make a huge difference in terms of the width because it's about the same width as the panoramic background, but height-wise, it just gives you more flexibility in terms of what your field of view is, and it's great when you're working with somebody who's, like our talent was about 6'1", 6'2", and you want to make sure you have them away from the green screen and you need to get the shot you need to get. So really, really great piece of kit. That coupled with the R5 C and thinking through how we were going to shoot that stuff made all the difference in the world. And hopefully this has been useful. Instead of just linking to an external video and expecting you to watch it, integrating in here. I think some of this in the future might also be start-stop and then talking about specific things. But in this one, I think that little chunk kind of explained everything the way it needed to be. So hopefully that was helpful. Comments are welcome. Love the engagement. Don't forget to. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.